what a renaissance it's been in this downtown area. So we're here covering the Grand Central Arts area in downtown Santa Ana, but the restaurant area has really taken off down here. And some of the restaurants that are in here, do you work with these folks right over here too?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fairly new to the role, but my goal is to shine a spotlight on the chefs and the restaurant culture, which there's so many hidden gems in downtown Santa Ana that people, I think, overlook, and more talent just keeps coming to this area. Whenever you bring great food to an area, people follow, and they'll come to that area and they'll embrace it, and they'll see what else it has to offer. And in this case, downtown Santa Ana is just kind of booming. You're right, it is a renaissance. The art down here is just amazing.
Now, Grand Central Art, they just won't let any old funky cooking school in. It's got to be a hip cooking school, ergo the name, I guess, Hip Cooks.
Yes, and we are, absolutely. But the name comes from cooking from the hip. Because in class, we don't use any measuring implements, we don't use any recipes, we cook from the hip.
And these folks back here are enjoying a meal that they prepared.
So this is a private event where she called me and wanted to rent the space just for she and her friends. And we have a schedule that we have it online at hipcooks.com. And we have public classes where you can just go in and sign in for any class that we're offering. And we have 40 different types of classes, a lot of ethnic foods, and we have workshops. We have pasta workshops, sushi workshop, cheese workshop. Wow. And a lot of classes are just like a 3-course meal. And like this today, and they're eating their chocolate cake for dessert now.
What a scam. I mean, here it is, you make them do all the work, they pay you.
Absolutely.
Right next door to the Hip Cooks was a panel discussion and exhibit on human trafficking created by high school student Cecilia Lopez.
Human trafficking is such a challenging subject to tackle and get out in the community because it's so heavy. And that's kind of the hard part, is you almost have a feeling that people almost don't want to know about it. And so it's so encouraging to see someone like Cecilia who can come out and say, hey, I may be a kid, I may be now a senior in high school, but I can still fight the fight, I can still help, and that makes all the difference.
So I attended the Orange County Educational Arts Academy here in Santa Ana, OSEA, and a part of our 8th grade project was identifying a problem in our community and creating an action plan to solve that. And so I decided to cover human trafficking. And after interviewing Jim Carson, one of the panelists today, and Ori Freeman, a human trafficking survivor, and listening to their stories and overall their passion that they had for this issue, I felt so inspired to create a change. I use shadows as a metaphor in my work because I found so many parallels between shadows and sex trafficking victims. Shadows are looked down upon because they don't have an explicit meaning, and they're seen as something, as a reflection of their subject when they're their own entity. Human trafficking victims are misunderstood in this same matter because they're seen as prostitutes when they're in fact victims. And so that's why all the images have shadows present.
Well, I'm here with Ryan, and he is the composer for this event that's going on here. We're actually in Tech Week here for Faith. Tell us a little bit about Faith and your take on that.
I personally am a Christian, and so my faith largely influences my music. When I sit down to write music, I view the process as me just listening to the music that is already happening. This production starts with a piece called Darkness, and it represents people living in isolation, lacking faith of any variety. This production represents the journey of finding your own faith, finding faith in humanity, and it climaxes in a piece at the end. Everyone together in worship, having found their faith.
One thing I love is how diverse and broad faith can be. So you're not just dealing with faith spiritually, but also faith in each other, whether it's relationally in your community or with marriage or in a couple or anything. And there's also the lack of faith. So we start in a place where there maybe is no faith, and I think we can all identify with that at some point in our lives. And then it's this journey to discovering some sort of faith. And the beauty of dance and music is that without words, you can interpret it however you feel. So the audience can use their life experience to influence what they see on stage and what they hear through the music.